Alright, how's everybody doing out there in Math Magic Land today? This is Mr. Muscarella coming at you, and in this video I'm going to show you guys how to graph absolute value equations. Now before we get into absolute value equations, let's go ahead and take a look back at the vertex form of the parabola. Now in the vertex form of the parabola we had three letters that we're going to really pay close attention to, and one of them is the A value. And the A value tells you whether the parabola would open up or down, and it would also help you with a movement pattern for the vertex form parabola. Now remember, you would take HK and you would put those two together to make the vertex, to come up with the coordinates for the vertex. That's why it's called vertex form parabola. Now the catch with that though, you got to be really careful. Don't forget to flip the sign of the H value. That's a very common mistake that a lot of people make. Now, similarly, the absolute value function looks very much like the vertex form parabola. And notice we've got A, H, and K, so A is going to serve the same purpose. It's going to tell you whether the absolute value function opens up or down, and it's going to give you a similar movement pattern, but this time it's going to give you what I like to refer to as the two slopes. So the A value will tell you whether it opens up or down and give you the two slopes that you'll need for the movement pattern. And again, the H and K are going to give you the vertex, but don't forget, remember to flip the sign of H. Alright, so that's a little bit of background about the A, H, and K piece for the absolute value function. Now let's go ahead and get right into 4 examples. So the first thing that we want to do here in any of our examples is we're going to take a look, and the first thing I want you to do is identify A, H, and K. Now this is kind of a tricky one when you first start out, because what you have to remember is if there is nothing in front of the absolute value bar, then the A value, there, you can kind of think about it like there's a 1 right there. So the A value is just going to be 1. Now the H and K, so remember we've got to flip the sign of H, and H is right here where the -2 is, so remember flip that sign, and the H value is going to be 2, and of course the K value is just 1. Now together that makes the vertex 2, 1. So I'm going to go over to that spot on my Cartesian coordinate plane 2, 1, so over 2, up 1, boom, and I'm going to put a dot. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my A value. My A value is 1. Now since that is positive, that's going to tell me that my absolute value function is going to open up with a slope of 1. So I'm going to start at the vertex and go up 1 over 1 to the right. Up 1 over 1 again, up 1 over 1 again, up 1 over 1 again. Now that's the right-hand side. Now the left-hand side is going to give us the other slope. The slope I'm going to use is going to go up 1 over 1 to the left. So I'm going to have the same kind of movement pattern here, but on the left-hand side I'm going to move in a negative version of the slope. So once I have those points kind of drawn on there, then I'll go ahead and connect them, and there we go. So you just want to make sure that you draw your arrows so they go to the end of the graph that you're given to work in. Now the increasing and decreasing part, again, we're going to use the H value, the H. So what I like to do is go ahead down here onto the x-axis and look very at the bottom of the graph. And what I like to do is put negative infinity on one side, and then the x-coordinate of the vertex. We're going to put that here, and then positive infinity on the right. Now, what I like to do is divide this up into those kind of two spaces. If I look to the left side of 2, so over this way here, so that would be just like that part right there, that slope on that side is, of course, negative. So that means I'm going to be decreasing. I'm going to have decreasing from negative infinity all the way up to 2. So I'm going to decrease from negative infinity up to 2. Now, similarly, if I go to the other side of the vertex and I kind of look on this side, notice that has a slope that is positive, so that will be where my function is increasing. So I would go from 2 to infinity, and that would be the increasing side for my function. All right, that's it. That's how you graph the absolute value function. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next example. Now in this example, the A value, there's a little negative right in front of that, so that means the A value is going to be -1. So A is -1, and then the H and the K, remember, flip the sign, so we're going to have -1 for H, and K is going to have a value of 4. So I put those two together, and that's going to give me the vertex -1, 4. So I'll go ahead and plot that. And so -1, 4, so -1, and up 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, that's where that spot goes. Now my slope, my A value is negative, so again I'm going to start from the vertex and I'm going to go down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1. I'm going to continue that movement pattern all the way until I get to the edge of my coordinate plane. Now again, I go back to the vertex, and I'll go down 1, but this time to the left. Down and to the left, down and to the left, down and to the left, down and to the left. You get the idea. So you'll have that shape for the absolute value equation of y equals negative absolute value of x plus 1 plus 4. Now, the increasing, decreasing part. So where my vertex is, my h value is negative 1. So again, I'm going to be, if I look on this side, if I look on this side over here, there on the left side, I'm going to be moving in an upwards direction, which means my slope is positive, so therefore I am increasing. So the increasing part is go from negative infinity all the way up to the x-coordinate. Now remember, the x-coordinate again is negative 1, so from negative infinity to negative 1, that's going to be the increasing side, and the decreasing side will be from negative 1 to positive infinity. And that's it. So all I got to do to graph that function. Two more examples. Let's go ahead and take a look at example number 3. And in example number 4, where the a value is not 1 or negative 1. So in this example, we've got y equals negative 2 times the absolute value of x plus 4 plus 3. So again, take your time. The a value in this case is negative 2. And then, ooh, that's a gross looking negative 2. Come on now, let's write that a little better. So negative 2 is my a value, and then my h and k, 4 is going to have to be flipped, remember, so that's going to be negative 4, and then 3 for the k value. So my vertex is at negative 4, 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and plot that dot, negative 4, 3, so negative 4, and 3, 1, 2, 3, boom, so we go ahead and put a dot right there. And next, now my a value is negative 2, which means my slope, I'm going to move in a slope pattern where I'm going to go down 2 and over 1, down 2 and over 1, and that's because my slope is negative 2. So down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, and then we're off the graph. So I'm going to go down 2 over 1 to the left and down 2 over 1 to the left, and that's as much as I can fit on my vertex right there, or on the graph. So again, my vertex was at negative 4. So I'm going to put a little negative 4 down there on the bottom, maybe to help me out in a little bit. So my graph would look like this. Boom, we draw nice straight lines on our paper because that's very easy. Now notice on the left-hand side, if I'm moving this way, that has a positive slope, so that's going to mean I'm going to be increasing. So I'm going to increase from negative infinity all the way up to my negative 4, and then I will decrease from negative 4 to infinity. And remember, anytime you're working with the increasing or decreasing, you're always going to look at the x-coordinate of the vertex, and that's going to be the number that's going to go in those two slots. The other two slots will be filled by infinity or negative infinity, depending on which way your graph is opening. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our last example. Last example here, number 4. Number 4 is going to look like this. Ooh, we got a fraction on this one, no big deal. So we have y equals 1/2 the absolute value of x minus 1 minus 3. I think you might be able to do this example on your own. If you think you can, go ahead and hit pause and then come back and see if you got it correct. If not, let's go ahead and get after this one together. So here we are. Our h value is going, or our a value is going to be 1/2. All right, our a value is 1/2, and so my h and k, we're going to be pretty good with that. H is going to be 1. Don't forget, flip the sign, and then k is going to be negative 3. So that's going to give me the vertex 1, negative 3. So I'm going to go ahead and plot 1 and negative 3. So I'm going to go over to 1, down 1, 2, 3, boom, put a dot right there. Now my a value is 1/2, so 1/2 is positive, so that means generally I'm going to have an absolute value that looks like this. And notice all the absolute value functions, they're all shaped like a V. So I'm going to start, so let me get rid of this guy over here, so I'm going to start, and I'm going to go up 1 over 2 to the right, up 1 over 2, and then I'm off the graph. So on the left-hand side, I'm going to move in a negative slope, up 1 over 1, 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, and then we're off the graph. So I've got all the pieces I need, so I'm going to go ahead and connect that, and then go this way and connect that, and then down here I will put a 1. Now notice on the left-hand side, so on the left-hand side, that piece right there, that has a negative slope, which means that's going to be the decreasing side. So I'm going to decrease from negative infinity all the way up to 1. That's going to be the decreasing side. And then I will increase on 1 to infinity. So those are the ways that you put together A, H, and K to come up with the vertex and to graph your absolute value function, and also determine the areas where the function is increasing or decreasing. So by now, you should know how to graph an absolute value function. All right, thanks for watching, and you guys have a great day. Peace out.